Hello and welcome to Unbound Carry, the channel where we help you elevate your everyday. My name is Jeffrey McDuffie, and today we're going to be going over some mini EDC items. Now, while this whole system in and of itself hasn't been super practical for me, I hope you'll be able to pick and choose some items from this list that might be able to elevate your EDC. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to go ahead and start off with the WESN microblade. So this is going to be a super tiny knife, hence the name microblade. Going over the specs, it's going to have a frame lock. It's going to have a flipper tab opening with also a thumb stud if you'd like to use that as well. It's going to have titanium scales, and also the blade is going to be made out of D2 steel. I think this is a great blade for everyday people, especially people who work in the office, just because the size is super unintimidating. I think a lot of people in an office environment might get intimidated if you pull out like a huge knife, but this I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye about. On top of it being super unintimidating, it's also really keychainable, making it easy for you to carry with you anywhere you go. Not only is it keychainable with the hole right here, you can also use the pocket clip, which is very robust and easy to use as well. It's a very premium feeling knife, which is kind of weird for something this small, but it's true. The titanium scales feel great. The satin sort of finish on the blade feels super premium. The detent is great, although I will say there's a little bit of a science to it. You have to kind of hold it like this. You can't do it like that. It's a little weird. But yeah, the whole package feels really thought out. The smaller you kind of get a knife, the harder it is to get those ergonomics right. And although this isn't perfect just due to the form factor, I feel like WESN did a great job with the platform, with what they were given. That being said, it is still a little bit awkward to handle, but again, that's not the point. It's not supposed to be the most ergonomic knife. It is supposed to be something that you always have with you, something that's ultra portable and easy to carry around. And to be honest, this is the best knife for most people in my opinion. Like I said, if you're working in an office environment and you don't need your knife for too much other than opening the occasional Amazon package or opening letters or cutting a loose thread or something like that, then this is a really good knife for you if you want something a little bit more premium. Because of the ergonomics, it's not going to be great for extended use, but again, like I said, I don't think that's what it's made for. Real quick guys, if you're enjoying this video, then I would appreciate it if you gave it a like, and if you're really loving it, then maybe consider subscribing. I make videos on bags, everyday carry, and tech, so if any of that interests you, then I think you'll like it here. Alrighty, back to the video. Next up, we've got the RovyVon A4 Pro. Now, this is going to be another titanium item because it's EDC. I love titanium personally, but this is also a pretty small package. This version has a max output of 650 lumens. It's got a magnetic pocket clip, and also one awesome thing is that it has USB-C charging, which is fantastic. No micro USB anymore, please. But if you want to look like a janitor and put all of this stuff on your keychain, then this will certainly fit on your keychain as well. I think a light like this is personally great for me because honestly, the least used part of my EDC is the flashlight. I use everything, even the pry bar, more than I use the flashlight. Just because I don't lose stuff very often, I'm not out after dark very often, so I don't use flashlights too often, but when I do, they're really great in a pinch. I think this is great for those types of people like me, who don't always need a flashlight, but want to have something a little bit smaller and more compact that kind of disappears in the pocket. Something like this is so much better than a phone light. Like, phone lights are just not super great. They're good in a pinch, but if you really want something to illuminate an area, this is much better than a phone light. But again, if you don't really use a flashlight that often, then maybe it's worth it to just carry your phone light or just to use your phone light. But I find that having a dedicated light, even though I don't use it as often, is still some good peace of mind. All right, so next up we've got the Big Idea Design Mini Click Pen. And yes, it's going to be in titanium. This one I believe is the machined raw titanium, and it takes D1 refills. Unlike a lot of Big Idea designs, this one doesn't take as many refills as their other ones, just because of the form factor. But I think this takes D1 refills. I'm not really sure what types of refills those are, but I haven't had to replace the refill in this anyways yet. But yeah, pocket clip feels super sturdy on this. I have like an older Big Idea Design pen. It's the brass click pen, I believe, and that one doesn't have as nice of a pocket clip. This one just feels like a lot more thought went into it. It's like the edges are rounded and it's a lot more premium feeling. I don't know. But I always love Big Idea Design. I mean, they always make super great pens with a really nice eye for the design, again, hence the name. But this just looks great. It's got a fantastic finish. And even though it's a smaller pen, it does feel fantastic to write with. Now, it doesn't actually have like an audible click, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I personally like myself an audible click but if you are someone who kind of like clicks on their pen a lot, it won't annoy people around you as much, but I would still rather have an audible click. All right, so now moving on to the wallet. This is going to be made by a brand called Secrid, and I'm not sure what the exact name of the wallet is, but I'll be sure to put a link down in the description to it. But the reason why I chose this wallet is, as you can see, it's a pretty normal size here, but this is just so freaking thin. This is a really thin wallet, especially for like a hard metal wallet. But one cool thing about this is it's gonna have like one of those spring actions to it, so your cards kind of fly out like that. Now I will say that this doesn't feel as premium as all the other gear, but it is a little bit more affordable. I think I bought this for about $30. But it's gonna be made out of aluminum. It feels a little bit light and a little bit hollow. I don't know if you can hear that. So it's definitely not the most premium feeling thing, but it has held up well to the elements for me personally. Something like this just disappears in the pocket. It's really good for front pocket carry as well, although I typically carry in my back pocket. And also, I think it fits up to 4 to 6 cards. 4 cards if they're embossed and 6 cards if they're flat, I believe. And then currently I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I currently have 4 cards in here. Let's see if I can fit some more. And 6, yeah. So if it's up to 6 cards at least, I haven't tried fitting more, but it's a hard wallet, so it probably won't fit more. But yeah, so I highly recommend that wallet. It's been great. Again, not as premium feeling as the others, but it is really, really thin, which I think is super cool. All right, so let's talk about this pry bar. So this pry bar isn't necessarily anything too crazy. I bought it off of Amazon maybe for like, what, $15 to $30, somewhere in between that range, I'm not sure. And this is actually my first pry bar. It's not really by a notable brand. I think the brand is called like Tisur or something. I'm not sure. It's on Amazon. It's a no-name brand. But it's a titanium pry bar, and I bought it because I wanted to kind of test the waters with pry bars. I don't really know much about EDC pry bars. I've never really found a use for them personally until I started using one. That's the thing. So an EDC pry bar, I feel like has so many uses if you're willing to be creative. Like I was using this to help me pry carpet squares from the floor. I kind of messed up opening a can with a can opener, so I used it to kind of pry open a can with it. Of course, if you do painting or anything like that, you can use it to open paint cans. It's EDC, so of course it's got a bottle opener, so you can use it to open bottles. And then also, you can kind of use it to reach hard to reach places because it's kind of like a flat edge. And speaking of the flat edge, you can probably use it to screw stuff in or unscrew stuff as well. So I just feel like there's so many uses. And I was one of those people who were like, do you even use a pry bar in your EDC? But honestly, it's actually been kind of great, honestly. So if you do like any property management stuff, or if you have a lot of odd like manual tasks that you have to do, this is kind of a good general tool. It's not going to do anything super well, but it has a lot of uses, so to speak. What do they say? Jack of all trades, master of none is kind of what this pry bar is like. Heck, you can probably use it to even open packages in a pinch. And the last thing we've got here are field notes. So field notes are tough for me, or really any sort of pocket notebook, because I always struggle with taking notes digitally versus by hand, analog. And I find that typically I stick to a digital note-taking system just because I have the notes with me anywhere. Like, I'm not going to roll over in bed and try to write something on my field notes notebook. I'm just going to use my phone because that's the easiest thing to do. But there's just something so nice about being able to write something by hand. And I would say that this is great for a grocery list. This is also great for writing down any ideas that you don't want to forget, but you also aren't super precious about. Also, in my job, I take a lot of phone calls, so something like this is great for writing down the notes of the call, So again, like, it's a notebook. It's got the uses that a notebook has, except a little bit more just because it's so small and you can take it with you more places. So I would say that field notes for me, they're kind of a hit or miss, honestly. Another reason why I don't really like carrying field notes too much is because I carry it in my pocket every day when I do carry them. And so they kind of break down just because I'm sitting on it a lot. And even when I do remember to take it out of my pocket and put it on my desk, then I walk away without it and I don't have it on me. So it's like kind of a game you have to play. So I'm kind of mixed on field notes. I really want to use them more in pocket notebooks in general. But I think I need to find something a little bit more durable, firstly. And then also just create like a good system for it. But again, field notes, smaller EDC, so it kind of fits. But yeah, this is something that I'm a little bit on and off with. I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on it. But that is going to be everything, guys. I can't think of anything else. Of course, this is like more of an EDC kit video, so I'm not going to include like the phone. I'm not going to include the watch or anything. It's just like, you know, the knife, pen, flashlight, all of that stuff. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a like, and if you really loved it, then maybe consider subscribing. If you want to see more of me, you can follow me on Instagram at UnboundCarry. But that has been it, guys. I've been Jeffrey with Unbound Carry, and I'll talk at you later. Bye-bye.